Hello and welcome back to the Intel Brief. Today is Tuesday, the 21st of April. I am your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about the US and Iran are sending mixed signals over the next peace talks, Japan is loosening its long-standing curbs on arms exports, and Amnesty International is painting a grim picture of human rights. So firstly, the United States and Iran have each warned that they are ready for war as the clock ticks closer to the end of the ceasefire, amid uncertainty over talks that President Donald Trump said would resume in Pakistan. With the 14-day ceasefire set to expire on Wednesday, he said that I am under no pressure whatsoever to make a deal with Iran, while also expressing confidence that further negotiations with Tehran will soon take place. Meanwhile, Iran's chief negotiator and parliamentary speaker accused the United States of wanting Iran to surrender and added that on the contrary, Iran has been preparing to reveal new cards on the battlefield. So what? I mean, to me, this ceasefire seems dead in the water. It seems that both sides think they're in the better position and don't really want to, well, they do want to negotiate, they do want peace, but they also don't want to give up their positions. Yeah, they both want to save it, but on their own terms, is how I wrote it out. The US and Iran positions seem to be very contradictory, with both sides thinking they have the upper hand. To me, it seems like Iran is in the better position for negotiations. Despite everything they were put through, they are still functioning as a regime. They were still conducting military operations, and they're still able to close the Strait of Hormuz, which is applying significant pressure to the United States. What will happen is much more difficult to ascertain, as Trump is a very hard person to read. So we have to wait and see there, but it is very risky times. And next, Japan on Tuesday approved a major overhaul on defense export rules, ending a long-standing restriction on lethal weapon sales overseas and paving the way for exports of fighter jets, missiles, and warships. In a statement from the Prime Minister, she said on X that no single country can now protect its own peace and security alone, and partners countries that support each other in terms of defense equipment are necessary. The move by Takaichi marks a major shift from the pacifist principles that shaped Japan's post-war security policy, as Tokyo seeks to strengthen its domestic arms industry and deepen ties with defense partners. She sees boosting the domestic arms industry as a driver of economic growth. So what? Well, firstly, war is big business these days. You just need to have a look at the share market to see that. And Japan needs the money. Their borrowing is a lot higher than their spending. So this seems like a logical move for them. And this all points towards a huge shift in global security, and one that's not really looking good for peace on the horizon. My kind of one question here is, do you think US hegemony is dead? I'm currently writing the script for my next YouTube video, and I think this might be the topic. I think US hegemony may have ended in Iran. And lastly, the conclusions drawn by the human rights organization Amnesty International in its report on last year is bleak. Human rights violations are on the rise worldwide, at the hand of both states and non-state actors, and in the majority of cases, those responsible go unpunished. The Amnesty Report 2025, which was just released in various locations worldwide, states that the year 2025 was marked by many powerful people acting like predators. Amnesty specifically denounces political leaders whose actions dominated headlines worldwide last year. Leaders such as Trump, Putin, and Netanyahu, among many others, carried out their conquests for economic and political domination through destruction, suppression, and violence on a massive scale. So what? I mean, this is kind of a flow-on from what I just finished talking about in the last story, and that it seems like US hegemony is dead. If that is the case, sadly, we are going to be returning to what is sadly a bit of normality in the levels of international conflict. For a long time now, we have been in relative peace and security that is pretty unprecedented worldwide, and it's unlikely to stop. If US hegemony is indeed gone, then there's going to be massive battles for supremacy, and how the world gets through that is going to be a tough time. You need to work with your partners, stick together, and defend yourselves is going to be like a pretty significant and most important thing going forward. So yeah, I think the levels of violence globally are unlikely to stop and are possibly going to increase in the next few years, probably till the end of this decade. So yeah, bit of a grim outlook. But anyway, that's been your Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you!